Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters. I'll look at the very best from France 24 from around the world. In this edition, we catch up with the family of Romani gypsies from Romania. They face great discrimination in their own country, and as you'll see, they've decided to pack up their home and try their luck in France. Now, they'd already been expelled from France, but they see life here as the best chance for their children. A political lifeline's been cut for these people. Romania and Bulgaria have just had their bid to enter the free access Schengen zone rejected by the EU. 400 million Europeans can move around this zone without a passport. And the problem Romania has in controlling the movement of its Romani gypsies was one of the fundamental objections. We'll be speaking with our reporter Mireille Brun after this report.
Barbulesti is a small village about 60 kilometres from the capital, Bucharest. Despite its size, it's become well known recently in France. The 7,000 inhabitants are all Roma, the most discriminated minority in Romania. Around half of this community regularly travels to France. They don't go west just for holidays, but to find a better life. And many decide to stay. This is the case of the DUDUVEICA's family. For 3 years they lived in northern France before being expelled in the summer of 2010. Their aim ever since has been to return to their promised land.
I don't care about my life here. I've had to watch my father begging, and this isn't a life. I don't want to live my father's life.
They've made up their minds. The DUDUVEICA's family, father, mother and 2 boys aged 12 and 15, are ready to leave. Having packed all their belongings in one car, they're going back to France. It's a long journey. It takes 3 days and 2 nights. Fatigue takes hold, but their dream of living in France keeps them going.
This trip's very long and it's pretty stressful. We have to travel 3,000 kilometers and all squashed into this car.
It was last year that we followed the DUDUVEICA's family on this journey back to France. They stopped in BLOIS, south of Paris, where some of their friends from Barbulesti had managed to settle. They met them in a churchyard and shared their accommodation for a short time. But both the local authorities and the church warned their friends that the newcomers weren't allowed to stay.
So we can't stay here, right?
Not in Blois, that's for sure. You'll have to try elsewhere.
Elsewhere ends up being in Cannes. We meet up with the family in the south of France a few months after leaving them in Blois. It was an easy choice. They learned that other Roma families from their village had managed to settle in the region. After being expelled from France, the family are now back in the country. Not only that, but they're on the red carpet of Cannes. They managed to adapt to the French way of life on their first day, but now they need some more time to get used to the glamorous Côte d'Azur lifestyle. For the time being, they feel a little out of place.
We didn't come here to steal or beg, but in search of a better life. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come to France.
Now that
I've got this opportunity to become somebody, I don't want to throw it away. Here I feel like I can do it.
The family feels the burden of their new challenge. Here, in this rich part of France, they feel like a huge gap in earnings separates them from the French. To allow the family to stay in France legally, they're counting on the children getting enrolled in the local school. France, the birthplace of human rights, is where the DUDUVEICA's family hope to find everything they were refused in their own country. Like mothers all over the world, Laura just wants to give her children a chance. She's well aware that getting enrolled in a French school will be their best bet, and she's turned to a charity for help. Richard is a former aviation engineer who works for Education Without Borders. He's going to help the DUDUVEICA's family through the bureaucracy of France's education system.
That's a scorpion fish. It stings, watch out.
Hey, you mustn't touch it.
Yeah, you mustn't touch it, you see. It's still alive. Look, it's moving.
Is it carnivorous?
You know fish eat each other. Let's go and buy some bread and cheese. And then we'll find some sausage as well, okay? We'll have lunch on the beach, all right?
A good French meal with cheese and all the beauty of the Mediterranean. The family feels like they're in good hands and they're happy to rely on Richard's help. He's been very sensitive to their situation. Now, Romania and their problems there seem a long way away. Here on the shores of the Mediterranean, life looks good.
I'm 33 de ani.
I'm 33. My oldest son will be 16 in January. I've never had my own home. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to France. For 3 years, I lived in Boulogne-sur-Mer. My life now is full of worries.
So you're used to having worries?
What's that?
Translate what I said for him.
Laura relies on her son to make herself understood. Once they're enrolled in school, the children will be able to help their parents settle in France. Adapting more easily and learning French faster, it's the children who are the parents' best hope. After meeting the relevant local charities, the family are confident that with Richard, they've found their man.
But just because things have been difficult, it doesn't mean it will always be like this. What's interesting is that it's the kids, the new generation, who are carrying on this story. It's their energy, their determination to succeed, and not to have the difficult life their parents have had. All that will give you the hope and energy to succeed.
This is Grasse, a small town near Cannes famous for its perfume industry. The DUDUVEICA's family have settled in here. They don't allow us to film their home as they're still afraid they might get sent back to Romania. They're going to live in a derelict house in an industrial suburb without water or electricity, together with 4 other families from BARBULESTI. But Richard has helped them obtain a postal address at a Catholic charity. This is the first big step which will allow the children to be enrolled in a school here. The brothers are excited at the prospect of going back to school, and a bit of competition strikes up between them. The younger brother, Adrian, isn't above a bit of boasting at the expense of Romeo.
I want to be smarter than my brother. Actually, I am. Like 1,000 times more. He's always been an idiot. I'm sorry, but he's stupid.
You mustn't lose hope, because there's always something you can do. As long as you're healthy and alive, you can get through everything.
It's the big day. The family's going to try to enroll the kids at school.
Romeo, let me explain. We've got an appointment with the headmaster of Saint-Hilaire High School. The postal address you've got now means you can be registered at the school. And Adrian will enroll at the Saint-Exupéry primary school, so you'll be very close to each other.
Once they get the children enrolled in school, the family can hope to settle in Grasse for the long term. So a lot depends on the meeting with the headmaster, and the family don't want the cameras there to film it. Will the city of Grasse welcome this Roma family? After an hour of waiting, the future of both children and their parents is decided.
Romeo's in. He goes to school on Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Mardi à 9h.
So on Tuesday morning, I'll be at school.
He'll start in the right class. Do you have olive trees in Romania?
In Romania, we call them maslin.
Maslin.
Maslin. Good.
Take an olive and taste it. Are they tasty? We don't eat them like this. They're awful like this. Southerners always do this with the people from Paris. And even Romanians aren't safe. Olives need to be put in salt for a very long time. Otherwise, they're very bitter. But we still make good oil from them.
It looks like the DUDUVEICA's family's gamble has paid off. Parents rely on their children to open doors in France, and now they hope to start a new life here, on the French Riviera.
Really, the family depend on the children. They're an investment. And we have to talk about it to take some of the pressure off the kids. For some children, the burden is too heavy, and they need help to deal with it.
Since the children now have a legal status in France, the parents can hope that the doors will open for them as well. The family could still be sent back to Romania at any time. But right now, they're simply enjoying life on the French Riviera.
Our reporter Mirel Bran is with us here in the studio. Mirel, Romania and Bulgaria being now denied access to the Schengen zone. What does this mean for Romani gypsies in those countries, and of course the family that you followed?
Well, of course, this unfortunate decision for Romanians will have direct impact on the Roma, because Romanians today will consider that because of the problems of the Roma, they won't be able to themselves enter the European space, and therefore this is going to increase the anti-Roma racism that was already strong in Romania, and the decision, of course, it was taken whereas France and Germany initially asked for the decision to be postponed, and now they are refusing the access of Romania and Bulgaria in the Schengen zone because of the position of the Netherlands. And for the Roma, it's a very bad news, and for the Romanians too, it's very bad news. It's because it's not going to help the integration of the minority in Romania.
It seems strange because either you're in the European Union or you're not in the European Union. Romania and Bulgaria are, so why don't they get access to the Schengen zone? That's probably the question most objective people are asking. For many people, though, Romani gypsies represent a crime problem. Nicolas Sarkozy having expelled so many Romani gypsies from France because of that issue. Now, that issue still remains, doesn't it? The crime, which is basically why many people discriminate against Romani gypsies.
Well, there are migratory waves in France and other countries. The problem with the Roma minorities is that they're very visible. Roma, by the very fact that they don't have education, they don't go to school, they have no trades or crafts, it's very difficult for them to integrate both in France and in Romania. And of course, they're very visible because most of the time they live from begging and they're in the street, they're begging, and it's not a particularly pleasant thing to see in Western Europe. And so it's a very visible migration. And this reaction that we've seen in France with the reaction of the Minister of the Interior, Claude Guéant, who's repeatedly said that the Romani criminality is on the increase, it doesn't help because, of course, again, the Romanians are considering that once more, because of the Roma, they are themselves being discriminated against, and this is increasing the anti-Romani racism. And maybe the most obvious solution would be to sit around a table and meet with the European Commission, because it is a European-wide issue, to talk together. And because these declarations, more or less warlike, of different countries, is certainly not going to solve the problem.
And extremely briefly, the two children we saw in our report, they represent the hope for the family.
Well, the children of these Roma that emigrate to France are the sesame, if you like, the key to success in France. It's hard to say, but it's the reality. They count on their children to open the doors for them in France. Once the children are registered in school, the doors open for the family to stay. And of course, we really need to understand why they react in this way.
Thank you very much. We need to leave it there. That's Miral's report. You can see it, of course, on France24.com when you like. Thank you for watching. This is Reporters. Stay here with France 24.